Today's book is your jungle guide to unbalancing your opponents. Tips and tricks of young chess guns. It's written by Dorsa and Borna Derakshani. This book is a book about chess improvement. So it will give you a lot of tips. It will show you a lot of games. Clearly a book that you should keep in your library because it's great. Here we can see that one of the author, probably Dorsa, is fond of cats, and here the book it tells you about the fact that it will assist you in all the phases of the game and obviously in general to improve. Okay, now I love this book because it has a lot of games of the authors. Since these are two authors, but I don't want to make the video too long, I will start to show you game 24, which was played by Derakshani Borna, and then I will make another video with the sister. Derakshani Borna, here it's rated 2343. It was played in Spilimbergo in 2019. Spilimbergo is in Italy. It's a beautiful small little village in Friuli, the region from Italy. And Sebalo Miso, 2212. Okay, so the game starts with the introduction, where the author says, as per my habit, which was probably not good, I didn't have much prepared for this game against a very experienced grandmaster. Okay, I don't know why Sebalo Miso is a grandmaster at 2212 as a rating. Maybe it's an old grandmaster. And so unfortunately old players don't lose the title also if they are in this case 2212 for us in US it's a national master level, it's not a 2500, okay, grandmaster. And there are grandmasters here that are old but are still 2500 because they really play top chess and they play all year long in all type of opens, so it's very hard for them, but they put the effort. And however, okay, I usually play the London system back then, but I was convinced that it would have been a waste of an opening against such an opponent, and I was looking for something sharper and more complicated. I also had lost a winning position the day before this game, so I wasn't in the best mood overall. I had absolutely no idea what to play, and on the board, I decided to play 1b3, which could be transformed into many sharp positions, possibly followed by f4, knight f3, e4, bishop e2, and castle. Jobava is one of the famous proponents of this structure, so eventually watch Jobava game also. b3, g6, wow, bishop b2, knight f6, and now he plays g4, wow, okay. This is clearly a beautiful game, just worth to watch and get the book for this. I mean, I didn't see it. I generally randomly take the games that I show you because I don't want to introduce any bias. And I want to give you a kind of neutral review as possible. But then, of course, we are human beings, okay? Okay, here there is an author comment which says, wow, interesting, but very difficult to continue as white, since it would be challenging to develop my pieces. I thought that I had seen Jobava play this once in a rapid game before, so I thought to myself, why not? Because you're not Jobava. Bishop g7. g5, knight h5, wow. Bishop takes g7, knight takes g7, and now we have e3. Here he gives a line that he considered that was based on d4, okay? Get the book and you will see it. I don't care to see it at the moment because there is not a diagram in the right position. e3, d5, and now there is a diagram saying that obviously now you should think and decide what you want to play for white. In the game, he played this, bishop g2, that is a dubious move, and he says, A slight misplay. I'm losing control of the center fully, and my g5 pawn may look annoying to black, but it can be a weakness for me. He says that d4 was better, followed by queen d2. The reason why I didn't play this logical move was because I wanted to maneuver my queen to b2 and to bring my queen that way into the game. However, black doesn't give me enough time for that. So, however, you see guys, this is the problem. It says d4 was the move to play, but it doesn't tell us how he found d4. Why do I say this? Because many times, and this is what I do too, I analyze with the computer. The computer is kind of biased about central pawn moves. He always wants to play a central pawn move, always. And so, for the computer, it might be right because the computer sees immediately on my old notebook 15 moves ahead. Boom! And so clearly beats every human out of the way. It's impossible to beat. But for us humans, he says this is dubious. But I think, honestly, this was his idea, and sometimes it's not a question to have a plan, like someone said previously in chess, it's better to have a plan but no plan at all. But in my opinion, it's better to have some ideas. They are your ideas. They might be wrong, but luckily you're playing against a human and you can beat a human. Why you wouldn't beat a computer, right? And the game continue with c6 and knight e2, another dubious move. Okay, here it says, I clearly had no idea how to play this position, and being in a bad mood already, I was extremely unhappy with my choice of opening at this point. So the lesson here is create your own opening repertoire, right? h6. And here he says, black is doing great by opening up his rook and clearing up the king side, which can be white's weakness. However, it says that there is a line with e5. Again, I think this is the computer, okay? That's a human, this is the computer. The computer wants to take control of the center every single time, and from there it will kill you. And okay, here it gives a line in the book, which ends up with black being really better, okay, than with this. But again, I prefer to watch games between humans because they are interesting for what happens. h4. Obviously, it didn't take here, and it gives a line which shows that black has the advantage if you take on h6, h take g5, h take g5, rook takes h1, bishop takes h1, and now there is e5. And it says e5 is a good move. Okay, at this point, black is better for what regards the central control. Maybe this is still has to be developed, so I don't know if it's really better. I don't see the attack. Yeah, the problem is here, right? That this must be defended in some ways. Yeah, that's a problem. f4, and the black plays bishop g4, which makes sense because again, he needs to finish the development. And here it says, pinning the knight while not letting white develop his pieces. What a disappointing position for me after 12 moves. Knight bc3, and here there is a line which shows that this was horrible the same, so the white has a problem, okay? E takes f4, e takes f4, and now black plays a dubious move, which is knight f5. The knight serves better on e6, so it was better to play this because it was targeting this. Yeah, it makes sense because this is pin instead of going here. Okay. But I'm sorry. Let's watch for a second this, because this is interesting. Obviously, after that move, white and pink, right? And here there is a line which shows that white is still much worse. Why? Because there is a queen a5, and let's see how it continues. Queen b2, knight d7, castle. It's a huge mistake. Can you see why? Try to put yourself in black's position for a second and refute the move of castle. The move is d4. Wow, that's a problem, right? Because of this and this. Okay, well, and here it gives decisive advantage to black. Okay, now I will pause the video for a second to return back to the position from which we started to see this line. Okay, I put the position back. Remember, black played knight f5 instead of knight e6. I think now, after knight f5, please pause again the video and try to find the move for white. That is really good. Because you see, sometimes a little dubious move may make all the difference in this position. So I hope you pause and try to find. White played d4. So you see, from the line before where we saw that there was that move, d4, and everything would crash, now it's not possible to play it anymore. So white has an advantage. And here it says, I immediately took advantage of extra time black has given me and gained some crucial space to bring the queen out into the game and to castle. So obviously it was this the direction to go with the queen instead of that there is not enough time. And here black plays another dubious move, queen d6. Black keeps giving me enough time to improve my somewhat disastrous situation. It seems the right move was knight a6, and it is a line here, okay? So queen d6, queen d2. So now this is a pin, which is kind of good. White places the queen on d2 rather than d3 to protect the weak black square. Okay. Knight d7, castle. Now it's queen again, castle. And rook g1. And this is a great move. Why? Because I'm pinned and also it protects a little on that side. Plus the attack on g4, of course. Here it says, black bishop is giving hanging vibes and looks misplaced, so let's attack it. I like this move a lot because it gives chances for black to misplay and loses his advantage fairly easily. So we saw that black had some temporary advantages that he was not able to convert in real advantages. How did he play here? Well, now he played rook h8. In the book, he gives two lines. He shows you that bishop takes e2, not so good, because white has an advantage at the end, and bishop h5 is also not too good for black. Okay, and there are some lines that you can read once you get your book. So bishop rook h8. Now try to think what white needs to do. Black is attacking here, right? And so that's why he cannot take immediately. What would you play as white? Well, he played king b2, a prophylactic move clearing the fourth rank and covering the a3 square at the same time. Now I'm seriously threatening to take on g4. While, of course, if we would take on g4 here, this wouldn't be good, okay? And there is a line which proves it. Black plays rook h4. There are two major weaknesses being shown by this move. The rook is very misplaced on h4, and black's back rank is now rent-free for me to use. Okay, now there is the back rank weakness also for black. How does white take advantage of it? Well, he thought to take advantage with queen e1. But he says that the computer doesn't like this move, although it seems very logical. In my defense, I was pushing for my elder opponent to fall for complication. So I'm right to think that this grandmaster is old, that's why he's at 2200. And make mistakes which eventually happen later on. Okay. Queen e7. This is still a good move with the correct idea. However, it did give me some extra hope to stay alive. Instead, it seems queen e6 was clearly better and by far black's best move, and it shows a line in which black, thanks to this move, it gets really better. I will show it to you because this line is interesting, and luckily there is a diagram in the right position for bringing back the square as what it was. Queen f2, queen e3, queen takes e3, knight takes e3, king c1, knight f8, king d2, and knight f5, and black is better. With knight e6 and rook h2 coming, it's now easier to see why black is almost winning. Black's pieces are dancing around the board in a perfect symphony. Clearly, to tell you the truth, the idea here is the following: the fact that the black pieces are actually attacking, they are active, they are doing something in enemy territory. The white pieces are all in white territory, so there is no attack, there is only passiveness. And now I will bring back the position, so I will pause the video for a second. Okay, now we are back in the position. So notice how a little change in one move, queen e7, not good, queen e6 gives black victory, makes all the difference. So just one square made all the difference, and that's kind of amazing. Because sometimes we have this kind of choices and we don't know how to decide, while the computer is able to tell you which square that piece should go on. And this is kind of interesting. By the way, this chapter started with a very interesting quotation that you can read here. In Fischer's hand, a slight theoretical advantage is as good as being a queen's head, by Isaac Kashtan, that was a US champion in the past. This quotation is really beautiful in my opinion, and it tells us a lot. Okay. Now, after queen e7, white played a great move. At this point, white turned the tables. Can you see what is the right move for white in this position? Can you find it? Try to pause the video and find it. The move is bishop takes d5. Boom. It's time to find a breakthrough to black's king. While his pieces are very misplaced, I'm sure this is the absolute only move to fight for anything in this game. And that's why queen e6 had an edge over queen e7 to avoid this complication. So if the queen was here, there was a problem. He couldn't play that move. But here it also makes another difference. So kind of interesting that the grandmaster, black grandmaster, wasn't able to find the right move and why. Okay? C takes d5, knight takes d5. And now there is another diagram which shows once more And this is why I tell you it's the computer that finds this move. Because black, a grandmaster, a very experienced grandmaster with all his life playing chess, played this move, wrong one. The computer probably continued to tell queen e6. And he says, yes, again e6 is the correct square for black queen. Now, I can no longer be happy defending my d5 knight with knight e3 because the queen will be exchanged. Without my queen on the board, I'm just simply material down, with no attacking hopes at all. Black is clearly better after this. Watch. Queen a5, threatening checkmate. Queen c6, knight e3, and here there is another line that shows that this is wrong. The book is interesting because it shows this line in a kind of light gray. So it shows you the analysis, okay? So knight e3, king b8, queen b8, and queen c8. And so here it doesn't give um, an evaluation at the end of this variation, we should have done, but clearly, if I understood the author, it says that here white is lost, is down material, and black has been able to stop all the attack. Now I will pause the video again to bring the position of the board back to what it was in the game. Okay, so the position was this one. Queen d6, that was the mistake because white black could have got the better if he played again queen e6, but okay, it's life. Knight e3. Now there is another good move from black. Rook king d8. Black prevents my queen from entering the back rank, at least for now. Now queen e6 is still playable, but not as good as before. Again, you see, little by little, the right move, queen e6, if you don't play it, it goes out of the question. But for those two times, black could have been saved. So it's very interesting. King f2, queen f2. And now there is a big mistake by black. And it happens. Yeah. He played bishop h5. It seems that the engine prefers for black to play this move. Bishop h5. Now we see why it's a mistake, because rook e1, and the rook now can be now focusing on the e5. Rook h3. This is dubious. Probably it was better a6. Knight b5, so now we know why a6 was important. Queen c6, and look, this was a big mistake. So pause the video and tell me why queen takes d5 was a blunder. So if you pause the video, I think by now you should have found it. If you don't want to do the exercise, you're lost, because the right move was this. And obviously I don't tell you why, okay? I don't tell you why. So he plays queen c6, c4, and bishop f3. This is a dubious move. Once more, the move to play was this. As we can see, it's terrible for us human beings. It's terrible because we continue to make mistakes, we don't see the right move, we have more than one chance and we cannot save ourselves. It's terrible. Yeah. By the way, it gives a line after a 6, okay? It's kind of long line, but you can find it in the book. Now, once more, try to find the right move for white, and the right move is knight takes a7. So, this is also very interesting because It seems that black at this point totally blunders. I don't know why. What is the reason? Queen takes d5, and after this there is c takes d5, bishop takes d5, queen c2, knight d6, queen e2, knight e4, knight d5, knight takes d5, queen takes e4, rook h2, rook 2, rook takes, knight takes d4, queen e4, knight c6, b4, and king c7. And after queen c4, here probably black resigned. I surely needed to use a good amount of luck to leave the tournament hall with a full point from this game. Had I played this against the computer, I would have lost horribly, but hey, I knew a 74-year-old GM was less likely to fight back in such complex positions, rather than in a smooth, easy positional game. And this game, in my opinion, introduced the problem that is in chess. You make a guy that is young, maybe, I don't know, 18, 20, I don't know how old, 23, 43, play against a 74-year-old, and the result is always that the guy that is younger wins. Why? Because he has more energy. At this point, the guy that is old is tired, maybe it's 2 hours into the game, he makes a blunder, and the young opponent take advantage. So, what is the rating actually measuring if it doesn't keep into account the age of a player? That's a huge problem, in my opinion, a huge problem of a rating, because if you don't keep in account the age of the opponents, and we know that chess is a sport, what are you measuring? I don't know. It's like, would you put a 74-year-old boxer against a 22-year-old boxer? Probably not, because you know how it's going to end, right? The 74-year-old is going to have a heart attack, or is going to be smashed by the guy that is younger. And chess is the same, Okay, now I will show you game 25, which is the next game. Is not an entire game, it's a fragment, but I hope you will like it. Once more, this is a book, Your Jungle Guide to Unbalancing Your Opponents, Tips and Tricks of Young Chess Guns. I hope you will enjoy it.